What did you do when the system failed your family? I was at the clinic with my son when he sprinted out of his dentist's office crying profusely. He'd been looking forward to getting his cavities filled for weeks, so I was extremely confused. I found him in the parking lot curled up behind our beat-up Honda, shaking so hard I thought he was having a seizure. It took me 45 minutes to get him calm enough to speak. They held me down. I couldn't breathe. My glucose monitor was beeping and she turned it off, he said, voice shaking. John had been managing his diabetes since he was 5. He knew the signs of low blood sugar better than most adults, and he'd never lie about needing his glucose tablets. I tried to stay calm while he told me the rest, but my hands were shaking. He told me that his dentist, Dr. Henderson, had called him a liar when he said he needed his tablets. Said his mother probably taught him that trick to get candy. When he showed her his medical alert bracelet, she laughed and said all the Medicaid kids try that excuse. Then it got worse. John started crying harder when he told me he'd wet himself when his blood sugar crashed, right there in the middle of the treatment room with other kids watching through the open door. Dr. Henderson had announced loudly that this is what happens when children don't cooperate. She made him sit there in his soaked clothes while they finished the cleaning. My baby dissociated. That's the word the hospital doctor used later. He just went somewhere else in his head while they kept working on him, even though his glucose monitor was screaming and he was shaking and sweating and clearly in medical distress. I called my brother Malcolm, who works security at the hospital, and told him to get here now. When he arrived, John was barely responsive. His blood sugar was 42. The ER doctor said we were lucky we got him there when we did. Malcolm went with me the next morning to that dental office, and I've never seen him so angry. He had the hospital paperwork showing John could have died, could have gone into a coma right there in that dental chair, while Dr. Henderson was too busy teaching him a lesson to provide basic medical care. The office manager tried to blow us off saying they were too busy to write up an incident report. Malcolm asked if they were too busy or too worried about liability. That's when things got interesting. Dr. Henderson came out of her office all high and mighty talking about how John was manipulative and violent, how his mother probably coached him, how these people always want to sue for money. Malcolm asked her quietly which people she meant exactly. I've been practicing for 30 years. I know all the tricks, she exclaimed. Medicaid patients don't appreciate quality care, and it's not my fault that some communities just don't prioritize dental hygiene either. But that's when I had my never interrupt your enemy while they're making a mistake moment, because she mentioned her husband was on the hospital board, and maybe our family should be careful. Malcolm was recording the whole thing on his phone. Full story on channel, link below.